Yo, testing 1 2, testing 1 2. It's your boy Tony Concep, man. I'm chilling today, man. This is a Tuesday, and it's been a quick start to the week. A lot going on. I wanted to come back and drop my second tutorial. This is actually, no, this is my third tutorial for Procreate. This is another one taken from the Sketchy app. It was one that I did a while back, and I just thought it'd be dope to share it with you guys. And then I think after this we're gonna switch it up. And this week, man, I'm stoked because I'm gonna be doing some of my first AI mid-journey tutorials, and I think those are gonna be real solid for you because I got a couple projects, and I figured why not just take the projects that I'm working on and create a couple tutorials, using those. So we're gonna do some flyer design. And then I just have to just cook up some things. It's been a minute since I've been able to get into Midjourney. I just been, working on a bunch of other projects, but now I'm ready to get back. Check it out. For this one today, I think what we're gonna do is, we'll go over this. This is a project, man. Again, Sketchy is a dope app. They use user-generated content from creators, painters, watercolors, drawers, all different mediums and platforms. And they, you basically can subscribe to their courses and take courses from some of your favorite creators. This is one of the videos I did a while back for them. And in this video, we're going to be using this image. This image is, a guy. I thought this was dope because, it offers up a little perspective. His head is a little tilt back. The glasses, and I created a lot of watercolor and a lot of strokes in this one that I think are really cool to go over and talk about. So, I think we should just get into it. Again, man, I'm sorry about the audio on this. It's not that dope because when I did this, I just shot it on, I think it's like an iPhone 11 or something like that, man. But nonetheless, it's a great tutorial, and I think you'll get a lot of game and knowledge from how I put this one together. Again, man, stick around with me. I'm excited. I'm going to be dropping a lot more of these tutorials, and I'm going to just start kind of moving into the other aspects of what I do as an artist. We'll get out in the studio and do some painting. Of course, like I said, I think the first thing on the map is doing some AI, some mid-journey work. So I'm hyped to show you how I work some of my prompts and get some of the imagery I get that way. But yeah, check this Procreate tutorial out, man. If you can like and subscribe or share this platform, this is a new one for me, man. I'm still trying to get knock the dust off and figure out how to start talking to these cameras the right way, right? But yeah, man, I want to see some of your work as well. Follow me on Instagram, Tony_CNCP, and send me, some of your drawings so I can see the work that you do after you check out these tutorials. Hope everybody's solid out there. Stay motivated, stay focused, stay creative. Life is art. You already know. For this, we're gonna fly through one of these pretty quick. I think the idea here is just to once again take you guys through my process, and we're gonna treat this more like a digital piece of art. So we're gonna work with our image, and we're just gonna build on top of an existing reference. So let's see here. I'm actually gonna start with something I already have, and we'll duplicate it and work on top of it. Actually, we'll just duplicate my last one. I'm gonna bear with me here. I'm just gonna go in, and I got quite a few layers here. I'm just gonna delete all of these layers. I'm not gonna set up a new file. If you guys want to know how to kind of set your files up, check out my previous tutorial, and I'll walk you through kind of putting it together. But since this one already has like a background image, nice piece of paper here. I'm going to use that. This is a 22 by 30. I think my DPI is 150, and let's see, aside from that, we're going to start and we're going to go to canvas. We have the references selected. I'm going to reselect my reference so something pops up here. Grab an image. Let's import an image, and we're going to go with this one today. Actually, let me grab I think I have a crop version already. Let's go with this one. Perfect. So this is going to be our image for the day. And stoked on this because we got some cool glasses, and I just really like the way this image is angled. Get the bottom of the chin, foreshortening the head, some hair. I like everything that's going on here. So I'm going to import that image. Actually, we're going to go up here and we're going to add, insert photo, and we're going to grab the same one. Let's grab this guy. I'm going to blow this up as big as we can get it here. And I'll just focus on the face itself. Pull this just over to the side. I'm going to work in portrait today as opposed to landscape. That's probably my favorite way to work. I'm going to go here where it says in, and let's drop the opacity level down to about 50%. So we kind of see what we have, and then we're going to draw it directly on top of it. So if you're just getting started out, while we're here actually in palettes, hit your palette button. We're going to press plus. Let's create a palette from new from photo. We're going to grab that photo and see what it gives us. It gives us a nice bit of tones, skin tones. I'm going to grab that black to start off with my favorite, which is the 6B pencil. I love to use the 6B pencil because that allows me to get some really nice real field pencil lines. And what I tend to do, if you saw my previous tutorial, I like to basically trace over that first image and kind of get everything that's black. So I'm gonna get all of the black, and I'm just gonna loosely stylize what I'm seeing, because we're gonna use this image to kind of as a base and work under it. So I always tend to get the darkest areas and kind of embellish on the shapes, and you're treating it like a sketch still, but with a trace, it's gonna allow you to kind of easily get that foundation you need. And looking at my reference, this kind of just is gonna save us a little bit of time as opposed to plotting the face out and all that good stuff. But yeah, I like to get a nice black drawing down first, and we're gonna work black and then move over to white. So generally, the tighter that your first drawing is, that's really, for me, that first drawing is kind of like the North Star for the piece. It's the layer that I tend to use on top, and I put the rest of the artwork under it to kind of build it up from the bottom up. So as our foundation, I'm just going to sketch around, and I treat these more like a collage as opposed to, a traditional drawing, of course, because we're tracing. So it's like we're doing the tattoo artisties on these, man. We're going to just get a nice foundational trace down. And let's see, for the eye, I'm gonna make some stuff up, because at 50%, that still allows you to draw without a direct copy. It allows you to put a little language in there while using your reference. You're kind of seeing what's dark and what's light, and what you know, how much of what you want to put in here. And you see there's a little dark under his eye, kind of right here. I'm looking at a nice little line, and you know, you see there's like, this is gonna be really cool when we get to work on the glare, the glasses. We'll get to work on top of our black, or maybe even beneath it, right? So I try to get as loose as possible with these. Try not to, you know, I don't want to emulate every single part of what I'm seeing. I just want to get a good foundation, so when I start to lay color down, I know where I'm going and where everything sits. So I really like, as opposed to putting that white in, I'm just gonna kind of get a nice shade going. And, you know, of course, looking at the reference, you see there's like a lot of line, smaller lines in here. I'm pretty big right now with my brush, but as you see, I'm just going in, and anything that's really dark, I'm gonna make sure I hit. It's little nuanced little shapes, and just want to get all that stuff in there. So using the side of your Apple Pencil is paramount. You know, as you get more accustomed and more used to the feel of the pencil, you know, you'll know when you want to fill those certain areas in quicker. You just tilt that angle that, and you can always adjust it. I tend to tilt, and sometimes I'll go in and adjust this pencil when I feel a need to, if I want to get a little more out of it. But the 6B is just, you know, between this one and the Procreate brush. The Procreate brush is a little fatter. It doesn't have like that same number 2 pencil. Well, 6B actually, I should say. It doesn't have that pencil feel that I like with this one. But the 6B, of course, is nice and dark, saturated color, and it's soft enough to turn on its side and make some good lines. So I'm liking what I got going on here. For the eyebrows, I'm gonna tilt it to the side here and just get some of that in there. Let me look at my, see there's also some lines you wanna make. Get that. They're pretty good. And a lot of these lines, you know, at the end, I'll go back and I'll refine some of the line work and put a little bit more in. But for now, let's get some eyebrows in here. See this, there may be a little shading. I might tilt my brush, my pencil, excuse me, and I'll put a little darker color and shading in. But I usually don't put a lot of dark shading in with the pencil. I tend to try to do that with color the best I can. So I love showing little pieces of white in the eye. I think that brings the eye to life. Just giving that, showing all that little reflection in there, really brings it to life. And there's, you know, some nuanced little color and like some blues and grays, you know, that'd be cool to drop that stuff in there. Hair, you know, hair for me is like, you know, I try to get some of the smaller lines in. I get, you know, those lines that really define the edges of the hair. So I get that stuff, but I'm not too big of a stickler on getting every single strand of hair in. You know, you want it photo real, take a picture, or just kind of make it up. This is like where you get to kind of use your hand style and show your language off a bit, you know, with the hair, I like to, you know, I'll make little squiggly lines and kind of characterize it a little bit, you know, because we're gonna drop layers in of you know, some splash colors or even heavy layers of color and heavy layers of black underneath this, and all this little stuff that we're adding, all this little detail and stuff that we're adding will kind of pop out at the end once we fill in that black. So once again, I'm on the side of the brush, and then when I see these little lines, I'll straighten that. I mean, I keep saying brush, sorry guys. I'm on the side of my pencil, and I just want to give just enough so you know it's like, okay, that's the glasses, that's the edge. And then for these softer edges, I'm coming in on the side of the pencil and just, you know, brushing those in. I'll actually fill in some of his hair, make a couple bigger lines, bigger strokes. See, it's doing a lot of stuff. A lot of eye looks pretty red, like it's pretty gnarly right now. Let's see. Hope you guys can see this. I'm gonna pull it up. Got a little small on you. So yeah, we're just coloring like in our color book. Just filling this stuff in. And I think now I want to bump that up a bit so I can get a bigger stroke. I'm going to carry some really big strokes over. So I'm just going to scribble that in. Fast and messy. It's way more fun to do it fast and messy, right? It's not fun to sit around and do every strand of hair. We're doing this quick, so. Just want to get that in there. I tend not to zoom out. I don't even zoom out. I just wait and then see what I got kind of afterwards. So, all right, cool. That's looking pretty good. These little thin hairs here, we want to get some of that. Because when we knock out our photo, we're going to get all these little cool little lines and stuff. I always try to, like, you know, it's kind of like when you're tracing over something, you want to trace it in a manner that you're drawing. Like if you're a sketcher and you draw really loosely, sometimes yeah, even like you know, if I'm tracing over, I'll still mark my spots. I'll get my eye line in there, the nose line. But I'll take it out for now. Let's see. It's not necessary like how that is, but yeah, I'll just jump in here on the side again. When you're getting up under the nose, it's a little bit of shading there. And you know, it took me a while to kind of get acclimated to finding the right, you know, the right pencil, a brush, I should say, and finding the right, you know, brushes that give me the feel I want, this soft feel. But that's why you gotta experiment, you know. You really gotta experiment with your Procreate brushes and figure out the right ones for you. And for me, it's definitely the 6B. Love this. Get a little bit of that. So up under here is probably a little darker. I'm really flying through this. I probably would take a little bit more time on this. I like this little hairs. Actually, it's not what's going on there, but let's get a couple little hairs. And one thing I don't recommend is, you know, if you're you know, going to trace over something, I wouldn't recommend like just like fully outlining, because when you fully outline, it kind of turns it into a character. Sometimes when I have an edge like this, I might give it just a little something right there, you know, to define the ear, so I know where it starts and stops. But I never do like a full outline on it. Get some of these hairs here, some of this detail. Looks really good. Yeah. Get all of this. Make sure I got some of that. See, even around the nose, like I didn't completely outline that. I just kind of gave it a hint so you know where that nose starts and stops. Okay. And let's get all this stuff is kind of directional. Let's get all this direction in there. And I'm gonna just loosely shade here and see what this looks like. I like to get all those different directions going. And you know what? For his neck, let's kind of style that out. Let's just make a loose line so you know where his shoulders are. Make a really loose line so I know where his shirt's at. I'm gonna fill that in. Maybe we can go back under that shirt with a different color. Something like that. I think that's like all we need. Let's see what we're looking like here. I'm seeing in the eye. I want to darken this up. It's got kind of like sleepy eyes right there. Just get in there and get that. Oh, looks like I started erasing here. Okay. What am I seeing under there? Kind of see where the eye comes in at. And some darkness under there. What's going on in my other eye? I think we're missing a little bit here. Let's kind of fill that in. There's a little white in here somewhere, so I'm gonna erase with my 6B. Yeah, there it goes. I'm gonna fill in a little bit more. Looks like we can fill in everything we needed there. Cool. I think I'm pretty good with that. Let's see, there's something about this eye. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. All right. And now I'm gonna just create another layer. I think I'm pretty good with that. And let's do a layer of white. Let's see where we can drop some white in and kind of brighten up some spots. I'm gonna drop that layer underneath my black, so we can keep that as our our base layer. And I'm just gonna start hitting a few spots with white to kind of pop out certain areas. Like you get the glasses here. You see how that rim around the glasses kind of it's really bright. You're seeing there's some yellow in here, but I'm gonna just put some white there. We're gonna go behind it. And yeah, that's the cool thing about Procreate. You really get to work in your layers like it's Photoshop. So for digital work, not only can you have like a painterly feel to it, but you can also collage and layer and kind of play around with it until you achieve what you're looking to get. So as we start to build, there's nothing wrong you can really do when you get that good foundation that you built on top. When you start putting white underneath it, it just kind of accents it, kind of gives it a little vibe. So I'm gonna start dropping white in a couple places that I see some big white area here. And nose, let's see, just highlight that. See this white kind of popping through. That's actually some page white that should pop through, but we're gonna put some white there anyway. And I'm using that 6B still, because for this one, I think it's creating a nice sketchy look. And see, no pun intended. Yeah. And I'm gonna come around and highlight that lip. Looks like the side of the mouth. Underneath the glasses, we kind of got that. Then it looks like there's some bright on the nose. We're gonna create a little bit here. So with the underdrawing, kind of is your guide, you know. You're just building, you know, your vibe on top of it, you know, with the pencil to you know, give it a little more than it probably actually has. You know, just like you can put some highlights in places that aren't as prevalent, but you always want to get the top of the ears and the spots that kind of pop out the most. Learned this from doing a technique in school where we would Rudy Gutierrez, as a matter of fact, one of my favorite professors at Pratt Institute, you know, we would do these drawings on burnt sienna, and we would start with a burnt sienna palette, and you know, of course, we, you know, get our drawings down and then really start working in the white, you know, and the highlights. And you can, once you get those highlights in, that creates that depth that you need. And as you can see, it's already starting to kind of give some nice vibes to the beard here. Of course, he doesn't have that much, you know, make it look like he's got a great beard, but some white on the side of the face. It looks like it's predominantly like white coming from this side of the room here. Maybe that's where a window is or something. Yeah, I dig it so far. I kind of like, let's put a little white in there. And it looks like, you know, where his eyes are. It gets a little brighter in here. All right, solid. Now, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna create another layer. Let's drop one behind that one. And I wanna start with some of, you know, some of these skin tones. And for this one, I'm gonna grab, today, let's work with the oil pastel. Let's see if we can get something cool with that. The oil pastel, of course, has got like a nice soft feel, if you guys can see, as we start adding that in. Those bright areas, I'm gonna, you know, just kind of freely start filling in that face and take this down. We're gonna put a little bit in the ear. I think I'm going a little too bright, but that works there. Big strokes. And now I'm gonna do another layer, and we're gonna go a little darker, right? In my last tutorial, I showed you if you want to select, if the color is not in the palette, you can just hold down your finger and it'll select whatever color is in there. I'm actually gonna go a little darker, and it's in my reference. It's got a little more orangey, peachy type of vibe to it. So let's throw some of that in. I'm just gonna like kind of sprinkle that in the areas that I think are cool. It looks like it's kind of coming from just a little darker here. So now I think on the same layer, I'm gonna go even darker because I'm still pretty bright. Let's go with like let's go with this like brown, a little more browner skin tone. And as you can see with the oil pastel, like the blend is really cool, and you kind of get this like really nice texture going. Let's see. I'm not seeing what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. And I want to make that even darker, so I'm gonna make another layer now, and I want to pull some color from my reference here, and we're doing it the same way. You're just gonna press that down. You guys can see it's like a little circle there, and that gives us even darker a selection. And I'll start dropping that in areas that will go behind the hair. See, because we're working under the black, it doesn't even matter if we're like outside of the lines or, you know, getting too crazy with it, you know, because it's kind of like falling behind our black and our white, and give him a little, looks like he's got a little tint where his glasses are. And we're gonna really get up under that neck And he's got a little bit more like you actually go like gray, a little gray under there for shadow, or actually a darker gray, something like that. Kind of mix that in. And now you can even, let's put a little bit of that gray in this beard here. I think that looks kind of rad. And looks like we want to go darker in this area. Darken up those eyebrows. Super dope. Yeah. And his ears got kind of like a little bit of red in it, but let's see. I'm gonna kind of see if I can grab. Yeah, there we go. It's like a burgundy, almost brown. I'm gonna put some of that in there. Some of those dark areas. And for this one, we may just, with our pastels are looking really good, so we may just go rock out with our pastels for a second. There's nothing really wrong you can do, it's just adding up, subtracting. I mean, you can, if you're working and you're apprehensive about your layers and not sure, you could always put this on a separate layer and take it off. I think I went a little too weird with that color on the eye there. I'm gonna step back, and of course, your reverse is your friend. It's your best friend. You want to reverse, you hit that backwards arrow there, and you can kind of, run it back. I just want it to be a little darker over there, closer to his eye. There we go, create a little depth. Let's put a little bit of that in his mouth too, because it's actually like I'm just digging from other palettes. I keep all of my palettes. I save a ton of them, from other drawings, because that way I don't necessarily have to build a palette every time I'm working on something new. I tend to just borrow and steal from other old palettes. Kind of like how that's looking, and keep them really loose. And let's see what else we want to do. Let's add a little bit more black to his hair. I'm gonna set up a separate layer. We're gonna go under his hair, and now I'm gonna grab one of these dark grays. Like, it's actually a dark, kind of like a dark gray. I'm gonna fill in a couple areas that we kind of didn't go hard on there. Let's fill in a couple of these. We got some like a little language from the glasses that we're gonna get. I'm just gonna drop that stuff in. And back to this layer that we put our mouth on, the mouth on. I'm gonna adjust this, so we're gonna go to the layer, hue saturation, select layer, and first I'm gonna, let me see what it looks like darker. We're gonna darken it up a little bit. I'm gonna change the hue because I got kind of a purple thing going on. So I'm gonna push it over. Let's see. I don't want to look like you got beat up, man. So let's see. Yeah, I like that. That kind of volume gives it a different vibe. And now I'm gonna go to color balance because I want to take, once again, I'm gonna select layer, and I'm gonna put a little bit more yellow in, and we'll take out, push a little bit more magenta, more yellow, and let's not go too red. Red enough. Let's see. But this is where I have fun, like really, kind of messing around with colors and changing the kind of the scope of what I'm doing, from the color standpoint. Let's see, I think I went redder. Now with that layer, because of the way this looks, I want to see what it looks like if we multiply it, what that looks like. Let me see if we darken it. I think if we darken it, softens it up a bit. We want to soften it up, so I'm going to put darker color there. And that kind of gives us what we got going on there. I think now, my drawing it's looking a little dark, so let's go to our painting brushes. Maybe stucco is one of my favorites. I love it, how the feel it gives. Got a new layer selected, and now I want to put like, I'm just gonna grab a random kind of orange yellow kind of color. Make that brush a little bigger. And just kind of have fun with some like little highlights. Of course, this is not a skin tone, but I think it looks, you know, cool. It's not exact, you know, but I'm just gonna pop in some brighter areas there, give it a little, make it a little bit more fun. We haven't shown this nose any love, but I'm gonna break this down and let's go a little lighter. You could also, you know, let's see here. You could also adjust your color with the disc wheel if, you know, say, you know, I want to grab like a color out of his lips. I'm gonna grab that and then kind of just drop that in, and go on your disc wheel, you make it lighter or darker, but I get a little, some little red in the lips there. Not too stoked on that, but let's see. Try a different brush. Other favorite brush, Oriental brush. And I want to get a nice, let's go back to my palettes here, sorry. I'm gonna select, I'm gonna go back to my palettes, and I'm gonna get like a nice bright color. I'm gonna zoom in on the lips, and I want to get that line. Get some little line like right here on the lips just to define it, and I may have to rock that. Okay, we're gonna put some highlights in, maybe where its highlights go. Actually, let's go back to the 6B because this is great for this. I use the 6B when I'm doing, you know, the mouth and some of the values, little highlights, because it allows me to get these little dark lines, these little light, small little lines, specks in, and we're just kind of playing around, you know, with it. And here, let's put a little bit of some highlights in that nose area. It's bright. Use the side of my brush. Always looking to find some highlights, and that cream kind of mixes with our white color there. It looks pretty dope. And we're gonna go over the nose bridge and put a little bit of highlight in there. Let's pull out. Let's see what I did here. There we go. I'm just throwing some stuff in here, you know, see if I can pop anything out. See what we got. And now from here, there's still a couple little funky areas in here. You know, I would probably go back and fix around the eyes and stuff. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go back to my original image here. Original image, and I wonder if I can just make that a little smaller. I don't need it that big. And I'm gonna erase out, because we have our background there, right? So I'm gonna erase out, excuse me, a big portion of that. When I'm erasing, I'll use a calligraphy brush, something kind of clean, like the Odeon. Not the Odeon, sorry. Let's go with the water pen. That's a nice big one. Let's get all of that out of there. And remember when we did those little lines with the hair, those little, in the beginning, you know, we did some nice little lines. Like, that's what looks really rad. I'm gonna erase out probably some of these parts I don't need here. Actually, we'll get all of that out, so we get those little lines to pop out, and some of the lines that we did in the neck area. And see, now all behind the hair, that page white shows through, and we'll get to see through some of like the strokes that we made. Yeah, it's already starting to kind of have a vibe there. All right, and I want to see all of that through the page here, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of this stuff, everything that kind of pops through. Cool, and yeah, I'm digging it. So now what we're gonna do is our black layer. I'm gonna multiply that layer so we can really start seeing our page through, and then we're gonna start just going through some of these layers, and you know, I'm gonna start changing you know, how it's at normal. Let's see what it looks like multiply. Multiply, now we're gonna see the page kind of shine through. This is where I determine like if I'm gonna just totally switch up my colors, or if I want to go a different direction color wise. I'll start here first. Like as you can see with the lighter color, that kind of like brings out some of my other bright spots. So that's normal. And light and color kind of softens it up. If we do an overlay, it makes it brighter. Soft light, vivid light, you know, you might want to go abstract and start putting really bright yellows and reds and pinks and, you know, just doing crazy stuff. But for now, I think I'm just gonna go with the lighter color for that layer. Let's see what it looks like. You can always, you know, always use your back and forth to kind of see what your change, you know, looks like. I don't really like that. So, oh, that's on the overlay. That's why. Okay. Let's stick to lighter color. You can even, you know, with these, sometimes I'll even duplicate the layer to see what that looks like if it punches it up even more. See, when we duplicate that layer, it just punches it up even more. And I kind of like, you know, what that did. So I'm going to grab these and I'm just going to connect them. That basically drag them into each other and that makes a new layer with the two that you just created. I click on and I kind of see what happens when I subtract and add this layer. Okay. And let's see what that looks like multiplied. If we multiply it, maybe we'll see more of our page through here. I like the real contrasty nature of that, so I'm gonna rock with that. And this was a really cool layer. Let's see. This layer has all of our dark spots in it right now. I've changed that in a darker color already. In layer 6, what's on layer 6? Let's see. We got a few more light spots for that one. Let's see what the screen looks like. Once again, it's a lighter color. I think for that one, I'm just gonna leave this. I'm gonna leave it normal. Cool. So let's see what we got so far. So we got it. You know, we got that kind of cooking, and yeah, for me now there's some kind of gray areas. You can always go back in on over your top layer here, and you know, if you add a layer, I like to experiment a lot. So maybe I'll grab an artistic crayon or something, for instance, bump that up, and just put a big stripe in this thing. Like let's go with this crazy yellow. See what that looks like. Boom. This is our stripe. See, you know, it's all about kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like a kind of a brighter vibe. Let's see here. I'm not really liking that color. I'm gonna switch and grab something like, say, this blue. Let's try that. See, that blue kind of changes up, you know, the vibe already. There is some blue in his glasses, so maybe I'll just add a little bit of that to tint these glasses. I think that looks rad. All right, and now I want to start just adding a little bit of my language. I want to add like some layers of some splashes and some paint and some sprays and some drips. So I'm going to go, once again, guys, you know, I've collected a ton of brushes. I'm going to try to see if I can link, you know, if you have any questions, you can just ask me directly. Like, I'll let you know what brush packs I use. This original effect Fats Cap is one of the ones I use a lot. I'm going to just put some blue in his hair. Let's see, let's add a couple little like drips. Maybe he's got a drip on his ear or something. Let's see. Let's get some long streaky drips in here. I'm just liking the blue vibe right now, so I'm gonna stick with that. My DPI is like pretty high on this one, so I'm not really able. Okay, let me actually, I'm gonna show you guys something else. I'm gonna create a new layer for this one drip. Add that drip, and then I'm gonna change the scale. So let's make it big. Boom. And you know, once you start kind of messing around and adding these different layers, it just changes the vibe. You know, it changes like the whole, you know, the length, the energy, and of the piece. And I really like what's going on with that blue. So now I want to add a little bit of spray out. Let's put that spray out. Like maybe we'll put it behind him. A couple little spray out areas. Maybe some over here, right here. Let's get a lot right there. I don't want to duplicate it too much, because the one thing about using paint, spray paint, and you know, aerosol brushes is, you know, you want to keep it real. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't put a drip upside down, or you know, if I put a little splatter on something, I want to emulate how it really look on a wall. So I wouldn't do anything that you know, kind of didn't make sense physically with the, you know, like with the spray can. So let's add some red in here. I don't know, maybe it's some speckles, something coming behind him there. And maybe see, this is a fog liner. I'll put a little red right there. And yeah, I kind of like what's going on. Now you can go back to your original drawing and we can adjust the opacity of that and see if, you know, maybe adding or subtracting or bringing it up kind of gives a little more to this. So I'm gonna bump it up. It was at 47. I'm gonna bump it up to, let's go to 60. So now that kind of fills in. That's kind of a cheat, because really what you want to do when I have more time is I would go back in and I would fill in the entire face, cover up that you know, our under reference, and just emulate the colors there to kind of create something. And put a little red right there. And yeah, I'm liking what I got so far. So I'm gonna add one more layer. I generally use a watercolor brush. And I'll just paint a layer. Let's do like a bright kind of crazy color. Let's go with what do you guys think? I'm gonna say lime green. So I'm gonna go in with my lime green. I'm gonna give this like kind of an outline and give it a cool little vibe. And already I'm seeing I got too much green there, so I'm going in with my eraser. I'm gonna erase out the ear so we can kind of, I'm gonna leave a little bit of that in there, but I want to clean up the glasses because his glasses are super cool. Actually, there's some green, should go right here. And then what we're gonna do with this layer is we're gonna multiply this layer, because we want that watercolor, we want it to sit into the page, right? So now that we multiply that layer, it gives it a nice, you know, real feel. And oftentimes I'll go to my black layer, I'll duplicate that just to make it darker. I want to see what that looks like. And darker, you know, that looks pretty cool. But I think for this case, I think I'm gonna go without it, because I like to see all those strokes. And let's add a little bit, like just give it a little bit more vibe. I'm gonna put grab my sketch and go back to my 6B. And once again, I think, oops, sorry guys, I didn't make a new layer. You gotta bear with me, just change this this nib. My nib is kind of wonky, but let's see. Let's put a little bit of some text, some stars, maybe a halo there. And let's put 2021, bam, bam. And once again, on that layer, I'm going to multiply it so we can see it, right? And that comes up with a cool, you know, cool, nice sunken into the page type of vibe. And yeah, let's see. Oops, sorry. Got a reference there. I think that's it, man. I think I'm pretty satisfied with what we got. I mean, so basically what I just showed you, you know, is if you're new to Procreate, there's still a couple muddy spots. Of course, I'd like to go in and clean up. But if you're new to Procreate and you know, you're still working on your figure drawing and you're trying to get you know, you're really trying to, you know, get your drawing, I'd say work on your drawing separately. And, you know, for exercise like this, you know, tracing over your image is a good start. It's an easy way for you to start to kind of play around with, you know, your colors and your layers. And of course, this is a digital piece of art. So, you know, you do have the autonomy to kind of work within your reference and pull it in, pull it out. But I would say, man, you know, just experiment with your layers and see, like in the case of these drips, right? I can go to that drip layer and I can multiply that. Let's see what that looks like. And that drops, you see how that drops in, you know, that color even deeper into the page, into your paper. But yeah, you know, just doing it in this way, if you're just getting started, maybe, you know, you work on top of your reference and you just kind of work from dark to light, put your highlights in. And yeah, my highlights are pretty bright here. I could even like maybe tone down the opacity on some of my whites if they're jumping out the gym. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. So to me, this you know, it's not super exact, but it has a ton of language, it has a ton of vibe. It's moving, and that's one of my favorite things to do and try to accomplish when I'm working on my sketches. And I thank you guys for taking the time to check out how I work through some of these. Peace. Freedom over fame, the cycle stays the same. Freedom